Mafioso and Godfather are considered two of the most boring roles in the game. Especially Mafioso. All you do is click a button, and sometimes you don't even get a say in the matter. But it's dirty work, and someone's got to do it. That being said, I've been on record stressing the importance of attacking the correct person in my videos time and time again. By far, the most important Mafia roles are the Mafia killing roles, because if the person in charge of killing consistently picks bad targets, you're often either not getting kills off or not killing high priority targets. I wanted to talk about Mafioso and Godfather because, unlike the way their Coven counterparts work in either game, there is no way out of choosing an incorrect target. You can only deal basic attacks, and only once at night. So for roles you cannot kill, you must either get Town to kill them, or get them hanged through your own deceits. The only support you're going to get is information from a supportive Mafia, or on rare occasions, you spawn in with a benevolent bootlegger or witch who can rollblock or control the only TP off the jailer. The majority of the time though, you won't have either of these things to depend on, so you'll have to rely on your own judgment to ensure the correct target is picked. So, whether it be the first kill on the first night, or a crucial kill on night 5 that will grant your team victory, who do you kill? If the game hasn't been decided yet, then there is always a correct option on who to kill. It may not seem obvious at first, and you'll have to be paying close attention to see where important townies are hiding. Assuming all players in the lobby are relatively competent, your killing priority should depend on 3 things: what role each player is, how confirmed they are, and how far into the game it is. For instance, most of the time, an investigator is a much more important pick than a medium, just for how much information they can bring down, and quickly too. That being said, if the invest hasn't found any information and is being called out by townies for it, that's a potential mislynch that you can leave alive. How far into the game you're being played in also takes a part in how important each role is. I like to categorize Town of Salem into 3 stages: early game, mid game, and end game. Each is exactly what it sounds like. Early game is when there aren't many deaths and even less info. Mid game is the meat of it all, where there's some information out there, and a fair chunk of the participants are in the graveyard. Endgame is when most people are dead and most, if not all, the roles have been outed, so you have to rely on your mechanics. I'm bringing this up since I want to showcase how important each role is in each part of the game. There's a lot of constants in all 3 stages. The jailer should always be factored in as a person you're going to kill at some point, but some roles have their importance change drastically depending on when the game is being played. Town investigatives are super crucial early on, but as more information comes out, they become less and less useful, to the point of becoming bystanders once all the information they can know is out in the open. Conversely, you have roles that are weak early on that become incredibly powerful once they figure out who's evil. Roles like Tavern Keeper and Mayor cannot be allowed to live in the late game, but in the early game, they're much less of a threat. My general rule of thumb is to kill the most easily confirmed townies, like transporters or TPs in a lookout game. A common mistake I see evils do is leaving powerful late game townies alive, because they want to ensure a safe kill on one of the 3 spies who isn't even confirmed. I think largely they do this because they just want to ensure they attack a townie at night and not risk hitting a neutral instead. Don't get me wrong, I sometimes go for safe picks myself, since bringing Mafia to majority as fast as possible is the main objective, but most Mafiosos and Godfathers are too cowardly with their kill selections. Let's talk about when to kill each townie, specifically in what situations. I largely leave town investigatives alone, since protective townies tend to gravitate towards them unless there's a bigger target to protect. I largely only go for them if I think they're about to confirm a lot of townies or catch out a lot of evils. and I'm not sure about other townies' roles enough for me to risk accidentally hitting a neutral instead. But even then, there are times when I leave them alone, especially if I know they're not going to help town that much. For example, one spy on his own is quite powerful, since if you kill them night 2 for example, and someone on your team is claiming a spy, they can make up Mafia visits to confirm your team as non-Mafia, since how could they be? They were Mafia visited. But a town with 4 spies, all regurgitating the same information, are all kind of useless. There's no point in killing any of them, since you're not depriving town of any knowledge. And although TIs can out you, do you have a blackmailer to shut them up? If so, I can say with confidence that most of the time, town does not pay attention to the person the BM'd townie is spam voting. Even if they find a Mafia, most of the time they're only bringing about a 1-for-1. I almost always have a chance of mislynching them in return. Next, we have TPs. I usually prioritize TPs quite highly since a single protect from any of them sets Mafia back so far. If there's one TP left, I pretty much always go for them. The one exception is if it's a doctor who has at least one save on record, since they usually get paranoid and self-protect. I usually just pick off other people until I think they've wasted it. Bodyguards I find don't have this problem, since surviving an attack as bodyguard usually gets you lynched since people say you're an arsonist. Just going into the night thinking about who the TPs are likely to protect is enough to keep most of them thwarted. I don't really prioritize town killings that highly, aside from the jailer, for obvious reasons. Most vigilantes either don't shoot or shoot incorrectly. I only prioritize killing them if it's obvious who Mafia are. Vet is an interesting one. I usually leave vets alone until we can lynch them in Mafia majority. But from my experience, vets either blow 3 alerts the first 3 nights, or they hold on to 1 for a vet duel. So if it's kind of late game and there's a town protective or trans alive and I'm not sure who they're going to protect, a lot of the time I will go for the vet, since that's almost the safest kill. Vampire Hunter I leave until they actually prove they're Vampire Hunter. I'm fine with them killing vamps until they're Vigi, since town is much more likely to side vamps than Mafia. Jailer should be your endgame no matter what. Often my entire game plan revolves around how I'm going to kill the jailer, and yours should too. Just get rid of the TPs or try and find out the jailer if they're hidden. You'll have to pay close attention. Town support is probably the most situation dependent of all the townies. First we have Mayor, and I think Mayor is kind of overrated, barring some niche late game situations. I only kill them if there's nothing that can protect them or if they're hidden. And even then, there's a lot of roles I attack before a hidden Mayor. Medium I treat like a slow-acting TI. I leave them alone unless I think they could get their hands on information that can ruin Mafia, like if they can out an ambusher or undo the work of a forger or janitor. Retributionist depends entirely on the graveyard. In fact, I may plan my other kills if I know there's a ret lying about. I might leave that Vigi alone, since otherwise the ret's just gonna use it. What's the point? Tavern Keepers I prioritize higher than almost everyone, since they're so easy to confirm, and all it takes is for one of our Mafioso or Godfather to die for them to stun lock us, and for us to instantly lose the game that way. In All Any and Coven All Any, when there's most of the time only one Mafia killing, you best believe I go for Tavern Keepers no matter what. Transporters, in my opinion, are the second most powerful townie. You have to beat them psychologically. I'd wait it out a couple nights to see what kind of transporter they are. Are they selfish and only trans themselves? Don't go for them. But do they only transport other people? You can bet your biscuit you're taking them out. I don't care if they could potentially screw up a TI. You cannot let them live late game, since they can rescue the game for town. Now, there are some exceptions to these rules that I like to follow when it comes to killing priority. The first is knowing when to go for a safe kill and when not to. For example, imagine there's 3 townies alive against a Mafioso and Godfather and it's night. The 3 townies are a confirmed doctor, a confirmed tavern keeper, and a sheriff who isn't confirmed. Now, although all my earlier advice seems to push towards going for the doctor or the tav, I would actually attack the sheriff in this scenario. You don't know if the doctor is going to heal the tavern keeper or self, but they aren't healing a sheriff who hasn't found anything. It's okay to ignore role priority if it's the decisive kill that gives Mafia majority. Another exception is another late game scenario, the time when you don't attack at all. This usually comes up when there's a neutral alive who you can only kill via lynching. Say that there's a veteran with alerts, a confirmed investigator, and a werewolf along with you, the mafioso. The best option is to not attack. If the werewolf attacks the vet, they might die with the vet. If they attack the invest, then the vet should vote the werewolf to force a veteran duel, since the furry man auto wins against vets. However, there's another rare situation where not attacking as Mafia is the right play, but this comes up much earlier. It occurs in the chaos modes of All Any and Coven All Any. If, God forbid, the rest of your Mafia team dies early on, they're just another day at the office, am I right, folks? As long as you weren't the mafioso or godfather initially, or gave away your existence in some other form, you can get away with not attacking to make it look like all Mafia dead. Now, I only recommend doing this when it's an evil-heavy game. If you make it to the end without attacking, people are much more likely to hang the last evil, whereas if you'd gotten a couple kills as Mafia, I find townies much more likely to side with the neutral, since they're harder to win with. One last exception is about the skill level of the townies you're playing against. Now, I know I based my earlier rankings assuming an equal experience level of the opposing players, but most games are not like that. There's often a spread in ability with how good the townies you're trying to eliminate are at Town of Salem. Try to pay attention to which townies are on the right track and are consistently sussing evils out. I find that once you kill them, most other players have object permeance and instantly forget all about who that person was sussing. If you just focus on killing the only 3 people who are pushing anyone, the rest of the town, without anyone to lead them, often don't do much, they don't push, they don't vote, and it's often easy to lead them to mislynching other townies. Just be careful about veterans, since they are often the loudest townie. Target priority in general is an underrated skill to have. I have won so many games where I wasn't that active in day chat, but I won Mafia the game by killing an important target each night, so town was never comfortable. It's why Godfather is my favorite Mafia role. You can carry games so hard without anyone realizing what you did. Target priority isn't just about killing the biggest threat to you, or even the only person sussing you. Sometimes it's about being patient and holding your fire not to kill at all. I hope this video was informative to you guys. It's my first guide in a long time, so I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys soon.